Good morning and welcome to the Vision Alignment Show, where we all understand how important it is to have our core beliefs, our core values, our core strengths aligned with our vision. I am so glad you joined me here today. I've just come off of a great meeting with a couple of people that I've met with, gosh, probably a year and a half ago, a few months before COVID. But it's just so nice to get to have a conversation with people face to face. And I could have stayed there forever. And that's why I'm a little bit late to the show today. I apologize for that, but I want to make sure that you all understand how important it is to get out and to experience life again. It's been a long time, at least for me. I don't know if it has been for you, but at least for me, it's been a while since I've had those kind of conversations. So getting out and speaking with people, it's phenomenal. So meeting new people and hearing new stories, finding out what people are up to. It's just been, wow, it's been great. So thank you for joining. If you want to hear more, stay right there. Awesome. Thank you for joining. And thank you, Linda, for that. Yes, everyone does need to get out. So, and thank you for letting me know you're coming in from West Virginia. I love that. That's very cool. Anybody else that's online, please put in #live and where you're coming in from. That would be helpful for us to know. And as always, share this video out with as many people as you can. And then what else? If you would, put a picture of you winking. And I had a picture of a winking picture taken this morning, but I put a picture of you winking in your timeline. When you do that, I want you to be thinking, if this guy next to me or if this guy here, me, knows what makes him unique, and it's not my eye, what makes me unique is my willingness to share my story with other people in order to make a lasting impact on their lives. So if I know what makes me unique and it's not my eye, I wonder what makes you unique. So that is a large part of where this comes from. I don't know exactly what I said there, but it's important for us to understand how important it is or how helpful it is to know what makes us unique. Because once we know what makes us unique, we're able to find ways, and we concentrate on ways, our mind will find ways for us to be able to serve other people. And serving other people is where true happiness comes from. So let's see who else is on here. Oh, Amron. Good morning, Amron. It's good to see you this morning. You're awesome. I appreciate you coming in from Powell, Ohio. That's great. But I wanted to just have a minute. Oh, and by the way, also, if you want to get more information on me, go to brianwagner.live and sign up for Vision Insights. So there's where you're going to be able to get more information about what's going on with all this. So have at it. I appreciate you being on. Now, also wanted to talk about the speech that we had went into a little bit yesterday, where I began to have a conversation with you about what's changed and what I've learned from it. So, as you know, I have a shunt, and the shunt drains fluid from my brain to my abdomen. I also have a couple of cavernous malformation, a cav mal, if you will, the malformed blood vessels in my brainstem. And having said that, those blood vessels sometimes bleed. And when they bleed, they put pressure on different nerves. The one nerve that happened back in 2011 was a nerve that controlled my vision. So my eyeballs don't go together. My eyelids don't work quite right, but that's who I am. That's what I have. Everybody has something. I realize that. So how do we take what we have? How do we take what we have and leverage it? Leverage that for our good. That's important for us all to know. And I want to help encourage leaders to know that as well. How can they lead their people to know what makes them unique, and how do they leverage that, what they're going through? How do they leverage that for their own good, meaning the employees? So that is what we're talking about today. We're talking about how we can do that. And as you know, I went through all this. I have a speech impediment. Obviously, I have my eyes don't work right. I have numbness all over the right side of my body. So my right side is numb. My right face is numb. My tongue is numb. That's part of why I have the speech impediment. But all that to say that I still know what makes me unique. And I know the best way to leverage it. And the best way to leverage it is by encouraging other people. So I encourage people when I'm at the School for the Blind. I encourage people in everyday life. I encourage my kids. I encourage my wife. I want you to be encouragers as well. Because if you can be an encourager to other people, then your life is going to change. Be an encourager every day. That's hard to do, but it's a goal. So let's set that goal, and we'll continue to read through the speech in terms of what I've learned. So another thing that I've learned is what it means to have deep conversations. And like, this is perfect because I just finished a 2-hour breakfast. I have not been with a person for 2 hours. Gosh, I don't know. I don't know how long it's been. So we had breakfast, these two women and I, and we just sat there and we talked. We talked about parents. We talked about COVID. We talked about life. We talked about baseball. We talked about basketball. We talked about kids. We talked about so many different things that had nothing to do with work, but they all had to do with work. Because you say we don't take business personally, but business is personal. It's always personal because we're all people. So I'm just so grateful to be able to get to spend time with those people this morning, and hopefully they're going to be listening to this online. I gave them the information in terms of where to connect with me for YouTube as well as for LinkedIn or Facebook. So it was just a great, good, deep conversation, and then we really dug into my programs and how I'm trying to serve people and how I could better serve people. They gave me a lot of good ideas to be able to help me. So just really looking forward to that, continuing that conversation and to having more deep conversations. So deep conversations that I was talking about yesterday and when I wrote this speech, I mean, this is where you go from talking about your kids to your parents to vacations or weekends. And that, yes, we did that. We did all that. But we want to make the world a better place. So in everything we do, it doesn't seem like we're always geared toward that. But if that's our central goal, our central core value, then we're going to do that no matter what we do in some way. So it's all about being 1% better. How can you be 1% better than you were yesterday? If you can be 1% better, love other people, just love them for who they are and not try to change them, then you're going to be happier. You're going to be more happy, more successful, more productive. So how do I treat others and how do I control my temper? I mean, that was really something that I struggled with a lot back not that long ago. And I still have bouts of temper, but I think it's controlled. So how do you control all that? It's a hard thing to do. Sometimes silence is your best friend. Sometimes silence is the best type of conversation. So my friend and I, my best friend, Eric, there'll be times where we just sit and we're quiet. And sometimes I fall asleep, but that's another story. But sitting and being quiet and not talking, just like that, man, it can be one of the best types of conversation. So I encourage you to try that as well. Do you have a practice for sitting alone with your thoughts? Some people meditate, which is fine. Some people pray. Again, all that is important to do. But do you have a practice where you're just alone and quiet? You don't have anything. You don't have a TV on. You don't have a radio on. You hear all the noises going on around you, but you don't really pay much attention to them. Do you have a practice like that? Tell me about it, if you would, in the comment section. I'd appreciate that. So the next point that I wanted to make here with what I've learned, it's more than just me. What I do or pursue has an effect on everyone. At the same time, I have a chorus of cheerleaders, encouragers, and partner. People want to see me do well, and people want to see you do well as well. People want to see us succeed. Sometimes they're afraid of you having too much success and becoming too much of a different person. But success doesn't ruin you. It just reveals you. And that is what is one of the main things that I think is important for us to understand, is how it does. So what are you going to reveal when you have your next level of success? Think about that. Another thing that I've learned is I've learned how to deal with my illness head on. Whenever I had a chance to do something about my medical diagnosis, I did. Never was there a time when I sat back and thought, well, this is going to happen and I'm going to have to live with this, or, I may die from this. There have been times where I've felt stranded, I've felt alone, but there have never been times when I wasn't able to make a calculated risk. Are you taking the necessary risk in your life with your health, with your personal life, your work life, whatever you want to ask? I mean, are you taking enough risk in general? The next point that I learned is I left my old life and started anew. Starting over is hard, but rewarding. I was given the opportunity to leave, aka I was fired, or laid off, or canned, well, however you want to say it. And that's when I knew that I needed to make a break. The last 5 years had been very difficult. Have been difficult. So the last 5 years of me having my own business, called Radical Vision. So we've had to borrow from our 401k. We've racked up credit card bills. We've sold vehicles. We've sold life insurance policies. And we've switched our health insurance multiple times. But the mission hasn't changed. We're committed to it. I've had my fair share of guardian angels. Sometimes even angel investors. People that have invested in me and my company. Isn't that awesome? It's happened because I've tried to stay up with old relationships. Are you staying in touch with your old relationships? I've been given something to say. Now, I've always been a talker, but my brother closest to me in age, Kyle, he would always command a crowd. I grew up wanting to be like him. By the way, don't tell him I told you that. He's not listening to this. Everyone knew Kyle. Now I have something to say that will make the different people in the difference. Now I have something to say that will make a difference in people's lives. But I didn't still know how to do it. So I joined Toastmasters. I thought that was the first place to go. And it was a great place. And it still is a great place. I'm still there. And then I added on a membership, the National Speakers Association. That place is amazing when it comes to speaking and being able to speak for a living. Now believe it or not, in July, I'm going to become the president of the National Speakers Association in Ohio. How did that happen? It just happened so quick. It seemed to take forever, but it happened so quick. What happened? Because I love this association so much that I wanted to keep it going in whatever small way that I could contribute. I started as the director of membership. And really what that was me going out and having breakfast with potential new members. But I loved NSA so much, and I loved having breakfast so much, that it was a perfect combination. This is what vision alignment was all about. So vision alignment is where your core beliefs and your core values and your core strengths match up with your vision. So my vision was to be a part of NSA and to help keep NSA going. Well, one of my core strengths was having a good breakfast and knowing where to. So I did that, and that saved me. That helped me a lot. So, do you know your vision? Think about that. Oh, and thank you very much, Linda. I appreciate you congratulating me. That's awesome. The next thing that I've learned, well, I don't know if I've learned it or not, but I've been thrust into a leadership role. In 2000, I took the president role of a nonprofit organization, and that was a church group. And I really thought that was kind of an easy job, but oh my gosh, church council was not easy, but it was rewarding because I got to see a lot of growth in that. That feeling of and sense of leadership never left me. I've learned, next thing I've learned is I've learned that the outside doesn't matter. And that's where my diversity speech comes in. I've always been very focused on how I look. Just ask my mom. This has taught me that sometimes these scars are what matters the most, in a good way. The outward appearance is just the shell of the person that's inside. There are many times that I look and act differently than me. There are people that look and act differently than me that have a much bigger following. They speak more. They have more of an impact. But I'm catching up. When you look at other people, you're trained not to look at their appearance, but you still do. This is where your cognitive bias comes into play. So how do you see yourself? If you see yourself as a 5, you're never going to be looked at as a 9. You got to see yourself as a 10, and then or maybe a 9 at the low point. But once you see yourself as that, then other people are going to have their own impression. But you got to feel proud and feel environment and feel invigorated with what you have. And the next thing I've learned is that my memory is in singular vision. So I see double every day. That's one of the reasons why I don't drive. One of the reasons why I stumble a little bit. My balance isn't very good. But when I have memories of things, short-term memories, I remember things in singular vision. I wonder why that is. Is it possibly my brain telling me how things are supposed to be? I just think that's strange. You often hear from doctors, listening to your body, when you're working out or when you're, doing whatever. Well, maybe sometimes you need to listen to your brain. Have you ever found yourself working too much and you woke up one morning and your brain just hurt? That's your brain telling you to slow down. You need to rest. Not only the full on sleep, but rest. This is called NSDR, non-sleep deep rest. It's important to have. You can have that sometimes when you're wide awake, not even laying in bed, but getting that deep rest is important. The next thing that I've learned is you You may have heard a story about a wrestler from a local school that made it to a state tournament. They said he had an unfair advantage because of his autism. He had a special coach that traveled around the mat with him, yelling to him what to do. They also said he had an unfair advantage because he was blind. The other person had to stay in constant contact with Caden, and he would have no idea where he was. They said he had an unfair advantage. I think they were right, but not for the reasons that they're thinking of. He has an unfair advantage in life because he doesn't see things the way we do. I first ran into Caden at the Ohio School for the Blind. He was looking for his cane. Man, I didn't know what to do. Should I help him? Does he want help? Should I let him know that I'm there? Because he walked in the room and I was the only one there. It was before my first day, so I was petrified. I didn't know what to do. Kate and the others with disabilities don't see the world the way that we do, you or I do. Everything is more simplified. They see right through your people's motives and actions. Do you think Caden had an unfair advantage? I do. Whatever physical or emotional challenge you face, how do you leverage that to your advantage? I think, I know we all have mental and emotional challenges, but how do we leverage them? Like, oh my gosh, we're almost at 23 minutes. This has gone by so fast. But I want to leave you with that today. Leave you with, how do you leverage any emotional or physical, mental, any challenges that you have? How do you make the best of that? Think about that. Come back to me tomorrow and we'll talk more about it. But for now, I'm going to let you go because it's been a great day, but we got more work to do. Thank you very much. And as always, keep